Okay, what we have here is a Chiappa 1873 22 single action 6-shot revolver, single action. And what I want to show you here is if you're going to carry it, there's two things you can do, but the most important thing is making sure that if you carry this that you grab 5 rounds only, because there's a firing pin that's protruding in this one. To make it realistic, what they've done is they've kept it old school, which means that there's no safety transfer bar, so the firing pin is protruding forward. Now, I did check it on a fired case where I lowered the hammer and it didn't dent the primer, but however, you don't want to carry it like that with the hammer forward on a primer. So even though it might not go, if you hit it or something, something could happen. But anyway, I got 5 rounds here. I'm going to show you the old school way that they loaded it and something newer for new people, so they won't get confused. Some people get confused about the load one, skip one method. So there's another method you can use. So I'm going to use the load one, skip one method first. So what you do is you got half cock. And what you're going to do is make sure you have 5 rounds now, not 6. Always have 5. Keep the other ammo away. So you go 1, skip 1, put in all the rest, which is all your 5 rounds. When you've loaded the last one right here, when you've loaded the last one, all you have to do is cock it, okay, and lower the hammer. And if you look here, you can visually inspect or shove a piece of paper in there that the firing pin is not resting on any rim. So we're going to prove that that's the case here. They're going to half cock it. And sure enough, it is. Now, let me show you the count 4 method. Okay, so the count 4 method is a little different. You put in all the rounds. So you're putting in 5 rounds, and what you're going to do is you're going to look for an empty hole. And then once you get to the empty hole, all you have to remember is E equals 4. Empty equals 4. So you got that. You're going to count 1, 2, 3, 4. Cock the hammer, lower the hammer, and we're going to double check and make sure that that worked out okay. And sure enough, and once again, you want to check in here. So anyway, we got 5 in here. Always have 5 if you're in carry mode, okay? It's the most important thing. Because if you go the empty chamber or the E equals 4 clicks, or you go the load one, skip one method, there's chances are you're not going to make any mistakes because you only have 5 rounds instead of 6. Now, had we been on the range, you could carry it like this with 6 rounds. Or you could carry it like this with 6 rounds, concealed carry, like when you're walking around town and you got it in your holster. But if you're open carrying, obviously people are going to know the hammer is out like this. But the other thing about it is that if this hammer gets struck, it's going to take a lot to break it, I know that. But if the hammer gets struck hard enough, once again, it could go forward. So a lot of people just like to carry it with the hammer forward, empty chamber, 5 rounds. Okay. Now, let's say you're on the range and you want to do ballistic gel testing with different types of ammo. And you don't want to mess around with as far as finding out where the round is in the chamber and stuff like that. All you have to remember is this. In half cock mode, when you put a round in, you count 4, cock it, lower the hammer. When you got 2 rounds, count 3, cock it, lower the hammer. When you got 3 rounds, that would be 2, and then 4 rounds, that would be 1. So if I'm on the range and I'm testing 2 rounds against each other, I would put 2 in and then count 3. So I'll give you a sample here. I'd put 2 in, close the gate, count 3, and then when I pull the hammer back and I get ready to fire it, that's going to be the first round. And then the second round will be after that. So what we'll do is you'll check and see if I was right. Yep, there it is there. First round, second round. And this one, this was not meant for fanning. This gun here wasn't built or designed for fanning. You can thumb it. You could thumb it really fast if you wanted to do a thumb thing where you pull it out and thumb it real quick. You could do that. Where you thumb it and your fingers constantly on the trigger and you go like that. But the thing is, you don't want to be fanning this because you could break something on this one. This one was not designed for fanning. So what we're going to do now is, since this demonstration is over with, we're going to load it back up. And once again, you're going to grab 5 rounds. And I do carry this sometimes on my hip. So I'm going to load 5 rounds. I'm doing this for new people because I do the load one, skip one method all the time. But once again, E equals 4. Empty means 4 clicks. So close the gate. 1, 2, 3, 4. Lower the hammer. Okay. Now you can tell right here that it's not resting on the rim. We can inspect it by cocking it. Half cock, and we can tell right there. Okay, it's all fine. It's all fine dandy. So once again, 4 equals, or empty equals 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. And there we are. So then I would put this in the holster here and then carry it. Now, if you do carry it, once again, you can have the hammer cocked all the way back and have all 6, but you got a hammer that's out like this. And you would have to be careful of the trigger and stuff like that. Whereas here, you don't really have to be careful of the trigger. But if you had this hammer all the way out, like if you had this hammer all the way out like this, see what I mean? It's ready to fire right now. But the problem is that you have to have something to cover that trigger. But that's why I recommend not carrying it like that. Or some people might carry it half cock and 6. Same thing. Whether it's half cock or full cock and 6, you still have the trigger to worry about and the hammer hooking on something, pulling it out, or a lot of things could happen with that. So it's better to have that hammer forward. Better to have that hammer forward like that. So the reason why I did this video is for new people, because single action revolvers like this that have the type of firing pin that's protruding, a lot of people, when they buy these, they don't understand what they're doing. They don't read the manual. Even this gun that's $200 or less, it's very affordable. If somebody had this for their new gun and they didn't read the manual and they didn't understand what they were doing, they might lower this hammer on a live round and keep it like that in the holster or something like that. And what's happened over the years with single actions is, if a person does that, there have been times when the gun would go off. So you don't want it going off. So to make sure that'll never happen, then you got the 5 instead of 6, so that's on an empty chamber. So that's why I believe in doing that, because it's safety. It's safety for you, the viewer, as far as demonstrating safe handling of a single action revolver of any type, actually. And even if you do have a safety transfer bar right here that prevents the firing pin coming forward, at least you know now, if you buy one where something doesn't have a transfer safety bar, or anything like that, or a hammer block safety, which is a little different, but they're both kind of like the same thing in a way. That way you understand the differences between old school right here and then new school, which would be a safety transfer bar where you can lower the hammer and have all six. So once again, I'm doing this for ultimate safety for you guys, so that you can have fun and you can learn how to use it single action properly. And I recommend that you buy snap caps for this if you're a new person. You read the manual, and the firearm safety rules is treat a gun as if it's loaded, which means that if you show it to somebody empty, empty the chambers or clear the your slide, like on your semi-autos and stuff like that, and swing out revolvers. You would swing out the cylinder and show people that it's clear. Okay, safety rule number one, making sure that you treat the gun as if it's loaded. And before you hand it to somebody, make sure that you clear it and it doesn't have any ammo in it. Okay. The second rule is finger off the trigger until you're ready to fire. And that's kind of similar to the muzzle, making sure the muzzle is facing in a safe direction and your target, and you're aware of your backstop. Okay. You're aware of your backstop when that round goes off. So that's going to go in a sand pit or something like that. So, and the finger on the trigger is only when you have the target in sight and you know about the muzzle and the backstop. Okay, so it's real simple. It's real simple. Treat a gun as if it's loaded, finger off the trigger till you're ready to shoot. Okay. Muzzle awareness and your target and your backstop. Okay. So you got 1, 2, 3, 4. So, and the way to remember these things is you can remember treat a gun as if it's loaded by the chamber or the slide. So that's number 1. Number 2 is trigger. So this part of the gun. Number 3 is muzzle, this part of the gun. Number 4 is your target out here. So 1, 2, 3, 4. That's the easiest way to explain the 4 safety rules, is by looking at the weapon. Look at the weapon, the slide or the cylinder. Treat a gun as if it's loaded. Finger off the trigger until you're ready to shoot and you have the target and you know the backstop, which is pretty much the same as making sure that your muzzle's facing in the right direction, in a safe direction, and then your backstop back here, you know, that once it goes through the paper target, it'll go to the sand. Or if you're shooting steel, you make sure that you're more than 10 yards away from your shooting steel and that you have safety glasses on, and then that steel is canted. The steel is canted this direction a little bit so that the lead will go in this direction, rather than if you had it like this, it would pop up and come that direction. But however you have your metal target, all you have to remember is just make sure that you have some distance between you and the target. So, and I'll show you a little one that I got here. So here's a 5-inch right here, Caldwell. And this one here is a 5-inch, but because it's got these, it's actually a 4-inch target. And that's the size that you need because that's a vital, like your heart or something. So this represents the heart. That's why you want to buy the 5-inch ones, because that's for your failure drills. You know, when you guys do 2 to heart, 1 to the head, that kind of thing. But anyway, something like this, you want to make sure you're back far enough, 10 yards or more. And then when it's swinging like this, that's fine. Some people cant it a little bit like this, but if you're more than 10 yards or further away wearing safety glasses and stuff like that, I think you'll be okay. But you just have to be aware. And even the instructions on these metals here, it will tell you how much you can handle, and it'll tell you how far away you should be. So this is a Caldwell 5-incher. Really nice. These are wonderful targets. I haven't used this one yet. I got another one that I'm using, but I want to set up 2 or 3 of these. But anyway, thanks for watching, you guys.